Go. Man, I'm excited. Again, Facebook off, phone off, get the kids into bed, do what you need to do because this is all about your business and moving it to the next level, and you can do that with Traffic Monsoon. So, Charles, again, thank you very much for being on. We appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's actually an
Awesome.
honor to be with you guys. You guys are incredible. So thank you.
Yeah, everyone told you about the crazy show we put on, but we do it because, again, people always say, Big, you're always so excited when you do these shows. And it's honestly because Frank, Ari, and myself are so passionate about showing people how to put a system in place. And when we were able to discover what your company was able to do with the type of systems that we build, it just, again, Frank just showed, again, not typical results, but we show people how to duplicate, replicate those type of marketing systems. So what I want to do is, why don't I make it easy for you? Let me throw you an easy question. What's the history of Traffic Monsoon? I know Ari started to touch on it. Frank said you started in 2014. Ari said he checked it out 10 months ago. How did you actually get started in this whole traffic exchange business? Or how did Traffic Monsoon, how did you get started? Because obviously you started the company. So how did that come about, Charles?
Absolutely. I'll be happy to answer that. Back in 2008, I was working for a health insurance company as a health benefit specialist. And I was going through a divorce, actually, and it was also the height of the global economic crisis. And
Yes.
at that time, I was pretty much the sole provider for my son, exchanging kind of with my ex at times too, but I also had full custody through the divorce. So she had him every other weekend, and I had him all the rest of the time. So for me, I just was so, I guess, responsible for my son and took full responsibility of that. And at that time, my employer wasn't recognizing that I needed to be with my son if he was sick. He
Right.
couldn't be in daycare or anything during that time. So I was getting in trouble taking a couple of days off to take care of my son in a 6-month period. For me, 2 days off in 6 months isn't a big deal, but for them it was. And so they pretty much gave me warnings, and then they let me go. And I was just like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do to provide for my son during the height of the global economic crisis? And if you remember that time of the period of the world's history, everyone was struggling to get work. I think the U.S. was reaching 15% of unemployment, something like that, or even higher, and pretty much everyone was looking for work. And so that means that if a company is hiring 20 people, even if you qualify, even if you meet every qualification possible, so does about 100 or 200 or 300 other people, and they only have those 20 positions to fill. So
Right.
I was turned away by a lot of different companies saying, you know what, you're great, please reapply in 6 months, we'd love to have you on next time. And it was just really frustrating because everywhere I turned, nowhere was hiring, and I just was running out of any kind of money that I had in my bank. And I just knew that I needed to do something. And so I was looking everywhere to try to find a way to make money. And I just thought to myself, law of attraction, I want to make money from home. That's what I want to do. And so I came across this ad that was on Craigslist, and it was for a healthy, more healthy, I should say, energy drink company that was just launching. And they were looking for sales reps that could work from home. And I thought, hey, that's what I want to do. So I went to their interview. It ended up being actually a multi-level marketing
Mm.
presentation. And
Right.
I was like, oh my gosh, I've been hoodwinked. And I thought, okay, this is law of attraction. This is what I want to do. I'm going to give this a fair shot. So I got started with the business. It was $100-something auto ship a month, and I didn't have that, but I borrowed it, paid it, and I got to work, and I was trying to build, trying to build, try to build, try to build, and then another auto ship came. I hadn't made any money. Try to build some more, try to build some more, try to build some more. And it just, nothing was working for me there with that company. And no one was really interested in what I was trying to sell. And I just thought, oh, crud, this really stinks. So after losing money in this business, the energy drinks were great, but I decided I just can't afford it because I'm unemployed and I'm borrowing money from my parents at the time. And it was just so embarrassing. So I quit that, kept applying to other jobs and things like that along the way as well. But that's where I really got started, is trying different business opportunities, losing a lot of money, trying different traffic exchanges to promote the businesses because I stumbled upon them. And the more traffic exchanges I used, the more different pay-to-click websites I used, the more leads I generated. But it really took me a long time to realize that I needed to, like what you guys have been talking about, replicate a system or create a way to build your list and interact with your people.
Right.
And until I really put that into place, I was making $25 commissions if I was lucky. Usually it'd be $6 commissions or $1 commission here or there, and I just felt like, hallelujah, I made something today, but not enough to pay rent. You know?
Yeah.
And it's,
Mom wouldn't have been too proud either for a $6 commission, right?
no, no, no. So that's really how I got started in the industry, and as time kept going, I discovered that traffic is really where the money is.
Thank you.
That's where it is.
Can you say that again, Charles? For everyone listening, where is the money?
Traffic is in the money because it builds your list.
Thank you. That's what Frank touched on. Absolutely. So how did TrafficMonsoon start?
So TrafficMonsoon started because essentially what I wanted to do is I had a team that I was growing in a different business, and I wanted to provide a service for them to help them grow their businesses. So I started some pay-to-click websites, and those were working well for a couple of years, and then I bumped into some PayPal issues and things like that. But essentially, I learned a lot of lessons along the way. I've launched a number of different things, and if you've done any due diligence on me, you've probably seen a history of different things that I've tried launching. All of those things that you can learn, it's a Charles Scoville -TrafficMonsoon.com. That's Charles Scoville, all one word, -TrafficMonsoon.com. You can learn about my history, the different pay-to-click websites I launched, as well as the problems that we bumped into and the lessons learned. Now,
See,
if you have...
And that's an awesome thing, Charles. One of the things we always tell all the people that follow us and work with us is we always share exactly who we are, and we're never scared to admit that mistakes are made. We learn from them, and the beautiful thing is all of the leaders in TrafficMonsoon, people learn from them because they're leaders for a reason. They've already made those mistakes, and they're trying not to have that happen again. And so that's what you're basically saying with TrafficMonsoon. That's kind of how that came about. All the mistakes you made. So give that website again so people can do their due diligence and read your story.
Sure, that's Charles Scoville -TrafficMonsoon.com.
Awesome.
And like what you were saying, that all of the successful people out there have had their share of failures and struggles and everything else out there. And even Richard Branson, he launched over 400 businesses before launching Virgin Galactic, where now Richard Branson is accepted as being one of today's greatest entrepreneurs. So for him to fall that many times, definitely
exactly. Little secret: Richard was not a virgin when it came to starting businesses. So anyway, Charles. So basically, TrafficMonsoon got started because you kept building on things that some things worked, some didn't work. You took some of the best lessons, and when you kicked TrafficMonsoon off in 2014, was there a huge fanfare? Did the mayor come out and basically give you the key to the city? Anything like that happen in Utah, correct?
No, not at all, not at all. In fact, it started with me and just a handful of other people who gained a vision and said, this is something that we can see actually working really well.
So no ticker tape parade or anything like that?
Nothing like that at all. In fact, when we got started, we were fought off by pretty much every skeptic out there and said, no, that's not something I'm ever going to get a hold of. I'm never going to join that. Just forget about me. Don't contact me again, those types of things. I mean, we were reaching out to everyone, contacting everyone we possibly could. And I think it took us about a full month to actually get 200 members. And we struggled along the way at the very beginning, but we kept working hard and kept pushing through it.
Took you a month to get 200, that's 200?
That's right.
Oh, man.
It was a struggle to get started, but once when we got, the wind underneath our wings, we started just to soar.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Frank has 200 in about, a couple weeks. But how many, Charles, how many active members are there in TrafficMonsoon now?
The last time I checked, which was just earlier today, we have over 100,000 active paid members, and that means someone who has bought something and not necessarily an ad pack.
Yes, someone who's actively participating in the advertising revenue, utilizing the traffic exchange somehow, things like that. And again, we're going to ask you more about those different sources in a bit. And so I thank you for that. So basically, from 200 active, I mean, people essentially, paying money, getting advertising, whatever type of may be, did you say 200? I'm sorry, 100,000?
100,000 people who have made a purchase of something, but we have over 2 million signups.
2 million signups,
Who've signed up
100,000 active.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. And that's in how many months?
Oh, geez, it's about 14 months now.
14 months. Incredible. Absolutely phenomenal. And to think, if you'd sat there in that second month and said, man, 200 members, and you'd given up. So it's always wonderful when we talk to people about essentially seeing things through, and that's what we talk to people all the time about joining Traffic Monsoon. Work the system, see it through, and start to utilize it, and you're not going to see instant results per se, but man, once it starts to gain traction, that's why you see all those people excited. Again, results not typical, and if you have any questions about signing up, as Charles said, as an active member to actually purchase ad packs, get back to that person that brought you in or shared the link. I thought what I'd do, Charles, if you don't mind, I'm going to switch gears because Frank actually is pinging me here, and he wants to get in on the questions if you don't mind. So, Frank, I see your little ping there. You don't have to poke me anymore, my man. Go ahead, Frank, if you want to ask Charles some questions while we have him, because I mean, obviously he's just getting rolling here. So let's ask him some hard questions. I did a couple of lob softballs there. I'm trying to be nice with my ugly sweater tonight. Hit him with some hard questions there, Frank, about the actual advertising and such.
Well, thanks, Charles, for coming out and spending some time with us, especially the early hours of the AM. And I'm actually happy that when I team up with someone, especially if they've been through the ringer like we all have, and that's how we learn. I mean, a lot of people think that I'm successful and this and that, but they only see the success. They don't see the 4 complete years of failure. And I worked the whole year to make $25. Making a commission like that, and people don't see that. They don't see the struggle and the lessons that you learn along the way. So I'm actually I feel more confident teaming up with someone that has been through the ringer because they've learned the lessons. And you know what? That's how you get wisdom, man. You get wisdom by just going through the ringer and just I've heard John Madden say the road to success leads through the sewer, man. That's true, man. It's 100% true. But I wanted to ask you about the product, guys. Charles, because that's why I'm here. I came over here for the product, and I realize how powerful a traffic exchange is, like you discovered when you started utilizing it yourself. And there's probably a lot of new people out there watching this for the first time, and they're trying to figure out. I want to ask you, to talk about the advertising products that we do offer here on the platform, and specifically talk about the ad pack. Like, what are people? I know I touched on it a little bit in the presentation, but explain what people are buying when they buy an ad pack and what they're getting, for their $50. Can you explain and touch on just the product side of the house?
Sure, absolutely. With the ad pack, what you're receiving is, like what you mentioned before, 1,000 traffic exchange credits. So each credit is a visitor to your website. And then also you're getting 20 clicks to a banner. Now, the great thing about getting clicks, in my advertising experience as a marketer, I would put banners on different traffic exchanges, and they were just impression-based. And so your banner credits would just be used up, and you might not even get a single click. But you spent all this kind of money to get visitors to your website through that banner, and you didn't get any. But the great thing about Traffic Monsoon is you're only paying for the clicks. So there's sometimes people look at and saying, hey, my banner hasn't gotten any clicks yet. Something might be wrong. Well, if you're not getting clicks, change your banner because people don't want to click on it the way that it looks right now. So that's something that I just look at it and just say, you're not wasting your money in this. You can now change it and tweak it without having to spend more money on that advertising without wasting your money. Plus, with that ad pack, you're getting one sharing position. And what I look at that sharing position is like a bucket. And as you're talking about this, there's a lot other advertising services that are available on Traffic Monsoon. So as people are buying those, that bucket fills up. as people are buying all of the services. And ad pack is one of the services. That's definitely one of the services that we offer, because with it comes advertising. So all of the services that we offer helps fill up your bucket until it reaches $55. There's no guaranteed time when it will fill, or even a guarantee that it will fill. It's not an investment. So that's what the ad pack is.
That's awesome. I mean, basically, people can learn the fundamentals of marketing by coming over here, and they're not wasting that traffic because, like you said, if they're not clicking on their banner, change your banner. So, if you spend money, just say, for example, over on Facebook on an advertising campaign, well, once that money's spent, it's spent. If you turned a profit, great. If you didn't, you lost money. Well, guess what? You just learned a valuable lesson. Here, you can actually test offers on this exchange. You can actually take those same offers, those same funnels, go to other traffic sources and utilize them. You actually get paid to test over here, the way I'm looking at it. I mean, and that's a pretty savvy move right there, getting paid to advertise. It's a very rare thing because we know how expensive it is, over there at Facebook to advertise. I got another question for you about the ad packs, and actually, I wanted to ask you about how the profit share is calculated, which is, I guess, connected to the ad packs. But and
hey,
also,
Frank, can I quickly, because I just want to ask quick. You talked about advertising, Charles. Do you mind one last question, because it brought something up, and then you can get into how many active advertisers. You talked about the active members, because I know people are always curious. How many active advertisers do you actually have on this system?
Well, that's what that number is, because they've had to purchase some advertising. So
gotcha. Okay. Just
yeah.
someone basically was trying to clarify that, and so that's why I apologize, Frank, but that's fantastic, because that makes all the sense in the world. Frank, that segues into the question you were about to ask, so that's why I had to jump in. Yeah. Okay.
I got you. And I just read up on this myself last night, but I wanted to ask this question because I know a lot of people don't know how this works. Is Charles, I wanted to ask you about how the profit share works and how the reserve is built up off of that, and if you could just explain that in simple terms that anybody can understand.
Sure. I guess probably the easiest way is like what I was saying, was that bucket illustration. Because if you can imagine just a sharing position being a bucket, then when people are making a purchase, 10% of that purchase is of course going straight to the sponsor for the referral commission. There's a portion of that purchase also being stored away as a reserve fund, just in case. And then above that is going to be the amount that gets shared. Now, the really great thing about that reserve is what that does is it acts as shocks. Because what we know in business, a lot of business owners know this, a lot of leaders know this, is that in a business you're going to have ups and downs in sales. Some days are going to be higher, some days are going to be lower. But a lot of people that are average don't realize that. So if over the weekend the revenue sharing is lower, or during a holiday the revenue sharing is lower, we wanted to keep those low points higher. So we're going to tap into some of those reserves to help smooth those bumps out. And those higher days where it's a huge spike in sales, we're going to take some of that as well and save that away for later when sales are a little bit lower, so we can kind of keep that bumpy road at an even keel, so that people don't have to worry or panic and have any kind of fear, uncertainty, or doubt that Traffic Monsoon is here and is going to keep going, because that's exactly what this is here for. So that's really how the sharing works, is that as sales are generated for all the services, and as was mentioned before, advertising is one of the most popular services out there. Like I said, also, I struggled selling energy drinks, but selling advertising is like selling shovels to the people out there mining or digging pits or something like that. This is something that you're selling a tool, you're selling something that helps them build their business, and every business out there in the world needs advertising to grow. They need more traffic, they need more leads for their business. So that's really what Traffic Monsoon is doing, is it's tapping into a need that's really out there. There's over 38 million home-based businesses in the United States alone, and all of these businesses have websites, and all of them need traffic. So that's what it is that we're offering. And so we're selling those services, and then from those sales, we are now sharing the revenue with people who qualify by simply clicking at least a minimum of those 10 ads in the traffic exchange.
Excellent, man. That's excellent. That's a very clear explanation. All right, just one last thing for me, and I wanted to ask you if there's any plans, any future plans, to cap the the ad packs. Is there ever going to be a limit on how much advertising space that we can buy on the platform? Is there any plans in place for that, or anything? You foresee anything like that happening?
No, I don't plan to ever do that at all, and I believe the reason why, and a number of people have asked this because they think that it would be unsustainable. And the way that I look at sustainability is the sustainability of really any business out there, whether it's Walmart, McDonald's, Tesco, or whatever store, whether it's a shop or a store online, whatever it is, the ultimate sustainability of any business is whether it can meet the customer's demand with their quality and at a competitive price. So what we're really looking at with TrafficMonsoon is there's definitely a demand out there for advertising. There's a demand out there, especially in the home-based business industry, and definitely at the prices that we have to offer. So if we can keep providing the services at the prices that we have to offer, then we should continue to bring in more and more sales of service and repurchases of all of the different services that we have to offer. So that's where the real sustainability comes. It doesn't come through math. It doesn't come through capping customers in their purchases, because if you tell a customer that they can't buy service, that's actually suffocating your business. You want those sales. So telling them that they can't buy any more after a certain amount is like telling people stop buying candy out of the candy machine at the store. You've already had your 5, stop buying. It's like, no, buy as much candy as you want, we'll fill up the machine with some more candy.
That's awesome, man. Supply and demand. I like that. All right, man, I'm done. I appreciate it, Charles.
Wow, Charles. Yeah, that I love that candy part, because I love candy, chocolate
Right.
especially. So great for analogy there, because I think the hard part is for us to get across how simple the business actually is. People tend to overcomplicate it. Don't you find that when you try to explain it, people tend to add more stuff to it, and you continue to try to keep it pretty simple, like that candy example you used. So that was fantastic. I know Ari has some great questions for you, so I did want to bring him in, because what we're going to do for those people out there, again, as you can see, one of the great things we love about Charles as a CEO is he doesn't have anything to hide. He's putting it all out there for you. He's here very late in the morning, early, whatever you think it is, to share with you his vision and what he's helped build. And obviously, people like us and other team leaders out there obviously help build it, as he said, as we want more and more traffic for our offers. And I think that goes right into a question you had, Ari, because you pinged me there. You had a question about the actual a different traffic exchange. Did you not, Ari?
Yeah, absolutely. I got a couple things I want to hit you with real quick. Number one, we all know a major traffic exchange pulled out of the United States. So the first thing I want to know is, are there any plans ever to pull out of the U.S.?
There's no plans ever to move out of the United States, and just like what you were saying, I like to put things out there. I run another traffic exchange called Ad Hit Profits, and it also had a number of people who said, oh, this must be illegal or something like this. And it was actually investigated by the Utah State Securities Division, as well as the state of Utah's Consumer Protection Department. And both of those departments reviewed the business for whether it was a Ponzi scheme, whether it was a pyramid scheme, and whether I was hurting customers or consumers in any way possible, in any way, shape, or form. And as they reviewed the whole entire website, checked the terms of service, checked our descriptions of all of the services, what people were buying, how things worked, they both closed their file against Ad Hit Profits and said, there's nothing here that we have to take any kind of action on. We don't have to enforce anything here. So that's where I look at and say, there's no reason in the world for us to pull out of any market, because I know that we're fully compliant with all of the laws and regulations in the United States, and all of the countries that we've been in, we're matching up with all of their laws and regulations as well. And so there's no reason for us to close down a market, because again, like what I was saying, if you limit customers and they're buying, you're suffocating your business. If we have a small market somewhere, then what we'll want to do is work more in that area to grow that market. That means that we've got potential in that market. Doesn't mean that it's time to close that market. It's time to grow that market.
Yeah, that's good to hear. So obviously, you firmly believe that we're safe from, government agency scrutinization. You believe that, we're going to be here for a long time, correct?
Absolutely. And if the government comes to scrutinize TrafficMonsoon, it'll be a little inconvenient. It'll be maybe stressful, because it means that I'm going to have to provide them all of the evidence, and I'll just have to sit and wait to hear what their response is, just like what happened with Ad Hit Profits. But I'm fully confident that if we are scrutinized, that we're going to pass with flying colors, because everything really is operating completely above board.
That's awesome. Wow. That's good to hear.
Wow.
I got one last question real quick, Big, because I know Frankie touched on this a little bit, but tell me, what's the current financial status, with TrafficMonsoon as far as like the reserves and so on and so forth? I mean, how secure are we, financially?
I can respect that concern, and I remember when we first launched TrafficMonsoon, we were, building up a reserve as well. It was about $75,000 our first month, and I was just thinking, let's see how this goes, and it kept going up, and by the time we reached our 8-month mark, or actually 6-month mark, we showed to leaders here in the UK, in Birmingham, that we had about $8 million in reserves, and that blew people away. And then now in a couple of days, I'm going to be showing leaders that we're actually up to about $28 million in reserves. Woo! So what that means is we're definitely in a good position, absolutely, for a company.
That's
now,
great.
Charles, touching on that, is that something that prospective person wanting to come in and be an advertiser could actually see, that reserve you speak of?
There's not a way to see that, and it's mainly because we don't want to place ourselves as a mark out there. Because if it's something that's seen on the internet, then people can...
yeah. But I mean, it's something that you can basically verify with other people if they're, as much as you're doing now, correct?
As much as I've been doing now, I can continue to do. And
Awesome.
And I know that there's some meetings where people have said, hey, Charles is going to open up the back office because now everyone shows up, and it's quite an amazing experience to see people and their reactions of seeing, wow, we're really strong and stable and the money is really there.
Gotcha. So what you're basically saying is, if you have an opportunity to get to a live event where Charles is there, then you'll be blown away. But we can tell you, we take him at his word, and that's because a bunch of us leaders know that what he is saying is true. And again, the biggest thing that you want to focus on is maybe, if you don't mind, Charles, I'm going to bring in some actual members that have come on to TrafficMonsoon, and they themselves had questions and all like that. And if you don't mind, do you have a few more minutes for us that I can bring on some members? Real, quote, I don't like to call our members regular members, because regular people take no action, and these people are far from regular. But when I say regular, I mean like the regular average, person out there, which is probably what you are if you're watching this. So, Charles, if you have a few more minutes, I'd like to actually bring on Irene, and Irene is fairly new to the system, and maybe quickly, Irene, if you can come on, unmute yourself, kind of quickly introduce yourself, tell people how long you've been in TrafficMonsoon, and I know you had a question for Charles yourself. Go ahead, Irene.
Yes, thank you. Hi, Charles. Thank you very much for giving your time at 3:30 in the morning. For not everybody, is willing to do that. So I'm very happy to be part of this team. It's a winning team. These three guys, Ari, Big, and Frank, you guys rock the internet. So I'm so proud of being part of this group. I've joined for 2 months only, and my profits are growing, and I'm very happy. But I know that we're running out of time, so I'm going to go straight to the question. We recently we moved servers. We had a crash server. So I'm just curious if there's any way that we could be notified, or if you can put a maintenance post, so everybody knows ahead what's going on, so they don't, don't jump in and see what's going on.
I can certainly appreciate your concern there. Absolutely. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Good. I don't remember there being a recent crash, but I do know that what we did have is an overload to our servers, which made it so that people couldn't log in, and we had to do some immediate server maintenance. Now, the unfortunate thing is in that particular situation, it wasn't planned. We didn't expect to have any kind of issue with the website. I think I received a notice. I might have been asleep. I don't even remember. It might have been in the middle of the night for me. I don't even remember the time of day it was. But I think I was catching a little brief nap, and received notification that the website was down. So I quickly hurried and found, oh my gosh, it's not responding. The servers didn't crash, but we certainly were having an overload to our servers for sure. So I put the site into maintenance mode as fast as I possibly could, and then got to work. And essentially, in that kind of a scenario, the best thing that I can do to make sure that the members know what's going on is put a note on the website. So when it's in maintenance mode, it says, sorry, this website is right now going under maintenance because of whatever's going on, and it'll be back hopefully within a few minutes. That's basically the best that I possibly could under that scenario. But definitely, when it comes to communicating with members, like I said before, we've got over 2 million sign-ups into TrafficMonsoon. Sending an email out to every single one of them becomes nearly impossible, because when you're sending out to that large amount of people from a server, the server can really only send a certain number of emails in a minute. Otherwise, Yahoo will block you as spam, and they start to rate how many emails are coming from that server going to any number of different email addresses, and it starts to get flagged, and it just hits people's spam folders or gets blocked out completely. So sending out to 2 million people is very difficult. So we do our best to update our Facebook, the main TrafficMonsoon Facebook page, but we will be a little bit more proactive in making sure that any other kind of maintenance that's upcoming will be in the site news that it's on the site.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. So, Irene, great question. Thank you very much, Charles, for that. What I wanted to do also is bring out another member, and that's going to be Rich. So, Rich, if you can unmute yourself, I know you had a question also. Maybe just quickly tell how long you've been in TrafficMonsoon and where you started, because your story is unique. And a lot of people out there are saying that they can't start from a small amount. Why don't you quickly share your story before you ask your question?
Yeah, we'll do. Cheers for that, Big. Thanks, Charles, for being here. Really, I've got some amazing notes tonight so far, so thanks very much for that. This morning, should I say. It's 3 a.m., like I say, in the UK. Yeah, my story, I track my days like Frank has been doing. I'm on day 134, so I'm sort of 4 months in or so now. And I started with 0. I came out to work in February through ill health, and so I literally had nothing. We're trying to make a few pennies here and there on the internet. And a friend of mine on Facebook, it was a birthday, so I wished her a happy birthday on Facebook, and she got talking to me about TrafficMonsoon. I couldn't afford to get involved in any business, but I did listen to her. And I took a look at what was going on, and I got started for free. It took me 3 weeks before I referred anybody, before I referred my first member. It took me 3 days before I referred my second, and I got moving. And so what I did was I used the money I made within TrafficMonsoon to buy ad packs, and built and built and built. 134 days later, I've never spent a penny of my own money. Everything I've done has been through TrafficMonsoon earnings. I've withdrawn nearly $8,000. It's completely changed the course of where my life was going, given what had happened with me at work. And I've made total earnings just over 23 grand so far. And like I said, not spent a penny. So yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. So when I say thanks, Charles, I seriously mean thanks, Charles.
No, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. And I would say it's actually you who did it. So there you go. You've done it.
Cheers. It's good to get recognition for it. I was watching your face as Frank was showing his screens, and your face was like a proud dad seeing how well your members are doing. It's really good.
Awesome.
But yeah, if
Rich,
it's all right to ask my question.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Go on,
because
Big.
the reason I wanted you to share that is because we've gotten so many people hitting us up on messaging here saying that they have nothing to start with. And I think you just answered that. What you have nothing to start with is no excuses. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason for people not to join for free, even if it's just to take a look at what it's all about. I did nothing for 3 weeks.
I got a question, Rich. I got a question, Rich. You started with no money out of your pocket, and how many ad packs do you own today?
Today, 271. It would be a lot more, but like I say, I've withdrawn nearly $8,000.
So you've taken out $8,000, and you're making roughly how much per day?
Including referral commissions, about $500, $520 a day.
So guys, look, check it out. Here's what I'm trying to say to you. 134 days in, he started with a donut. That's right, $0 out of his pocket. He's now making about $500 a day in 134 days. Now, this is what I've always preached all along is you can do this. There is nobody on the planet that can't do this. You can absolutely do this, and this guy is one of our testimonies, living proof. He just plugged into our system, followed the system to a T, and now he's winning. And, you know, we want you to win too. So you got to get back with the person that brought you here and definitely get involved in this. This is the ultimate opportunity by far.
Yeah, hell yeah. Cheers, Ali.
Here, Big.
I'm waiting for Rich. I'm waiting for we're taking away Rich's time to ask his question.
No worries. Don't worry.
Hard to get here. His story. We basically asked people to share their story, and out of those, we chose Irene and Rich because they basically epitomized what you could do, basically starting from nothing, with the attitude that you could get it done. And the beauty is Traffic Monsoon allows you the opportunity to do it. It's up to you. Charles, you touched on it. So one of the things that Rich and I talked about is we're just so excited to see this huge amount of growth, especially members of our team. We talked to other Traffic Monsoon leaders, correct, Rich, over in the UK.
Yeah.
They're excited about all this growth, people coming on left and right. And so that's why, Charles, we asked about the ad pack cap. But Rich, you as a member who are seeing people come onto your team now through your hard work, you have a question, I guess, about growth and support going forward, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of touches a little bit on what Irene was already mentioning. We're growing in a massive way. I've seen that even just over the last 3 or 4 months. And so going forward, what's the intention? What's the plans of helping? On support, but ultimately on communicating the messages of where we're going and what we're doing. You know, things like this is fantastic, but I think this webinar's only got a cap of something like 1,000 people. There's 100,000 people out there. 99,000 of them aren't going to see this. And so, if people aren't at a meeting with you or aren't on these webinars, what method of communication are we going to be able to roll out that helps transfer your goals, our passion to the rest of us? What can we do about that?
That's a really good question. There's been a number of people who've been asking me to do a webinar my own self, so that could be something that could be done in the future sometime. But a lot of the information on the website really doesn't change so much. And so when there's not so many changes, I mean, we're not changing every week, we're not changing every day. So a lot of the information that's on the website, there are recorded videos that are on the website. When you first go to TrafficMonsoon.com, there's a green video link that you can open up in a new page and actually watch what Traffic Monsoon is, how it works, and how you can make money with Traffic Monsoon. And when you log in, there's a video link to learn how to get started. So all the real information on how to get started and what it all is all about is already on the website. People don't have to communicate directly with me every day to see what's going on with the business. They can kind of just watch their own account and see, hey, look, I got my revenue sharing today. And if there is a problem, then we do have support. Now, I know that there's been a number of issues that we've experienced, especially at first. Support was mainly done by me. And at first, those support answers were answered back within minutes, because as soon as that ticket came in, I got that notification, and boom, I got that answer right back out. But now that we've been growing so big, not only am I no longer doing support, but I've hired a number of people to actually help with support. There's a team out here doing support. There's, I think, about 5 now, and there's going to be a couple more people that are being hired to handle support out here in the UK. There's a support group in Dubai, and there's a support group in the United States. There's a center in Florida that actually is a call center that's taking calls, answering support tickets, and approving all of our ads, as well as now there's going to be another center that's going to be opening up soon in the United States as well to help make sure to help manage the growth that we have here at Traffic Monsoon and meeting the customer needs of getting a quicker answer to one of their questions.
Okay.
Hey, Charles, real quick. I know.
The support centres. Sorry, Harry. I was just going to ask, on the support centres, there's 3 already, so there's going to be 4. Do they take overflow from, if one of them's overrun, do the other support centres step in, or do they run as independent bodies?
Well, they are all. Well, there's one support group right now that's just handling mainly the UK, and that support group is here in the UK. But that same team can submit a ticket through inside the member area, and if you go to the member area, then that's all supported by also the UK group, the USA group, as well as the Dubai group is going to be receiving training on how to do that as well.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Thanks.
Awesome. Great question,
Sorry,
Rich. Yeah, great question, Rich. Charles, thank you very much, because obviously as we continue to grow, people are going to want to know that support is there, and you guys obviously are on top of that. And Ari, I know you, segueing off of that, you had a question because I saw you start to jump in here. Go ahead, because I think that's probably what brought it up, this support issue, this growth that we're seeing.
Yeah, I mean, look, guys, since I joined this, obviously, everybody, Frank's under me, Big's under me. The reality is everybody on those teams, I've kind of been like the face of this, where they contact me and say, hey, give me help. And I got to say, thank you to Charles, because you and I have worked day and night, to get situations resolved around the clock, and I really appreciate you stepping up. I mean, most owners, when you have an issue or have a problem like that, they're on the other side of the planet running, not to fix it. They want to leave it to support, but not Charles. Charles has always been, great at and pleasure to work with to get these little problems resolved, and he's more than amicable to do it, and it doesn't mean that, hey, somebody wants to be moved from one place to another place because they believe they got signed up in the wrong place. It doesn't mean he's always going to do it and automatically approve it. He's 100% fair and ethical, and that's something that I really appreciate in every situation. He looks at all the circumstances that surround it, and then he makes a decision. And I just want to applaud you for that. I really appreciate that, Charles.
Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, so, let's talk about TrafficMonsoon compared to, a lot of other traffic exchanges. Obviously, as a big marketer, I get, hit up by, my paying ads and my advertising pays and, AdBrook and HQ and all Triple Thread. I mean, I could go on and on and on. What separates us from all of those guys?
I would say that there's a few different fundamental differences. One of those is our value, the quality behind the services that we have to offer. I mean, I don't think that any of these, if you purchase like something, I don't know if they have cash links on their websites, but being able to purchase a cash link and have, let's say, 100,000 visitors be delivered within less than 24 hours. There's right now over 140,000 clickers daily, some days up to 190,000 people clicking on cash links all around the world. And you can country target those clicks as well. So I look at all of that and say, I don't know if those other services have a kind of service like that built in. But I do know that right behind all of this is, if they do share revenue, that we are very conservative. I know there's a lot of sites that are out there saying we're going to share 150%, 200%, we're going to double your money or anything like that. We're not talking like that. We're not here to double, triple your money. We're here just to share your revenue, share revenue with you from all of the other advertising services that are being purchased on our traffic exchange. And people are actually buying our traffic exchange services. Another thing that you probably hit on earlier, and I think, yeah, you did, is that we are ranked in the industry, not just on traffic exchange list.com, but a number of other top exchange list companies, and we've been ranked #1 on all of them. And so I look at all of this and say, how many of these others are ranked like that, and how many of them are delivering several millions of visitors every single day? I'm talking about over 96 million visitors in a day are being delivered from TrafficMonsoon. That's something that not any other company that is in our whole entire industry is delivering that much traffic in a single day.
Yeah, that's huge. You hit on it right on the head. We're not oversharing in profits, and that's important, guys, because it's all about stability. Now, I've been in this arena, so you guys know, for 12 years, 10 years full-time, and I've made a lot of money in the industry, and anytime I join anything, as a marketer, I'm always looking for something that I love, something that I believe in, and obviously I love TrafficMonsoon. You know this because we talk about it a lot, but I always, take my own money. I always build all these marketing systems that allows me to give to my team, so my team can, get massive growth as well. And the company has to be stable. So you just touched on that, and that's really big because we're not oversharing that profit. But tell me, what's your plans for 2016 and beyond, man? So I know as a marketer where I need to move to.
Absolutely. What we do behind the scenes is not only just keep the servers running and make sure the customer support is being taken care of, but we're looking at trends in the marketplace, what people are looking for when they are buying a service from a traffic exchange. And so what we've done is we built in the text ads, we built in cache links, we built in a number of different services, not just the ad pack. And I think that's something that also distinguishes us from some of these other types of services out there that you were mentioning, is that they don't have a whole lot of service that is outside their actual business opportunity. But we actually offer the real services that help people build systems like what you're promoting through TrafficMonsoon. So looking at 2016, there's a couple of different ideas that are on my mind of getting out there into the marketplace through TrafficMonsoon that aren't on any other traffic exchange that I know of, but I think would really greatly benefit the marketers out there, because I try to put myself in the shoe of a marketer because I am a marketer. That's what I did full time before I even launched any of these sites, is what am I looking for when I advertise somewhere? And that's what I'm looking for now with something. I think that's where I need to provide that service here, and provide that because I think that's something that a lot of people will really love. And I'm not going to tell any more details other than that.
Okay. I was going to prod you a little more for that, but I know, like, we had some conversation like about cost per mil and cost per click networks, and hopefully we're kind of maybe moving in that direction. I love the off-site advertising because I know that is something that really separates us from other companies. I haven't seen another traffic exchange that actually offers off-site advertising. And that's a huge marketplace because, it's one thing for us to log in and view ads, but it's another thing for that advertising that you buy to be placed on another website that then brings people to whatever you're advertising. To me, that's even a more legitimate form of advertising, and guess what, guys? You only get it here at TrafficMonsoon. So we're stable. We got the reserves. We're moving in the right direction, guys. As a marketer, this is a dream for me. So I'm very excited, and I want to, again, thank you, Charles, for your time. Thank you for coming on and answering the tough questions. We really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. And if I could put one more plug in there, is for the little guy, is that a lot of people, just like what Rich was saying, is he started with nothing. There's a number of people who have done that, and it's done actually not even referring a whole lot of people. There was someone that came up with this strategy of referring 2 people or 10 people who are buying at least 2 ad packs a day. And that's crazy low amount of ad packs that people are buying per day, as you probably already know in your own teams, that buying 2 ad packs, 10 people, that actually generates over $36,000 in commissions alone. I mean, how many other businesses out there can you do that with just 10 referrals?
Yeah, it is right. It is correct. It's low. In fact, actually, if you guys, let me just kind of show you, actually. I'll show you what's low.
Yeah, Charles,
so you guys,
Charles, what Ari's about to show you, again, we want to thank you for your time. If you have to, beg out of here, because obviously I know you're preparing. You have an event coming up in a couple of days. Am I correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. So again, we certainly appreciate your time and the hour that it is. What Ari's about to share with people is going to absolutely blow people away, because we're going to give them a bunch of different scenarios, from marketing, referrals, that type of thing. So now that you've shared not only your past, as far as your personal past, the past of TrafficMonsoon, where we are today, but you also just shared some of the, actually you teased us a little bit is what you did about the vision for 2016. We're excited. Any last words? You started to touch on just the little guy, as you say it. Are there any last words? And then we can let you go, and then Ari and myself and Frank can then hit people with this whole marketing and duplication process. Because again, I want to be fair to your time, and I want you to during this event not be sleepy and blame the Affiliated Forces Power Hour for the fact that you're dragging your butt during this event. So
the 2-hour Power Hour.
Yeah, exactly.
If you wanted some last words, I'd probably just say if you think you can't do it, you'd surprise yourself if you just tried, because Traffic Monsoon is, like what you were mentioning before, it's the best business model in the world that I've been able to see ever. Is it's got the sustainability, it's got the product, it's got the service that actually has the high demand out there. There's a large sea of people out there who are looking for these types of service. We're highly competitive in the price, in the quality, and if you can't tell people about advertising or even clicking a mouse, because the free cash links, people are earning a phenomenal amount of money referring free people to come click on cash links, then I think you're really going to surprise yourself if you just give it a shot and give it a try and you see yourself making money.